Okay, so you want to learn a language, but you're struggling to get the motivation. You're not alone. I think that this is the biggest, 100% biggest problem with language learning, at least that I've encountered. The biggest struggle has been trying to stay motivated. So I decided to make this part of my channel, and this part of my channel will focus on experimenting to find motivation techniques that will actually work. So most of the articles that I've looked up, because I've been doing research for this, have been really unhelpful. Not a shock. Most of them are very repetitive. But we're gonna go ahead and give some of those a try for this first week. Yeah. So the first one and the most consistent thing is to make a list. So today is Sunday. I am going to make a list of things I want to get done by the end of the week. Now, I'm learning a lot of languages. So I'm learning actively. I'm studying Japanese, Korean, and Chinese, of course, because I'm in Taiwan. But there are other languages I'm also studying inactively, where I just do phone apps for them or something that it does not require a good deal of time investment, but maybe like 5 minutes. So those languages would be Vietnamese, Russian, Mongolian, and Thai. So yeah. So this first week we're gonna focus on motivation for both my active and inactive language studies, and we'll see how it works. So I made my lists. About these lists, they're actually quite long. I'm gonna show you them in a minute because I'm trying to be super active in my language study, particularly next week, because next week is a light week with my university, so I thought I should try and take advantage of it. However, maybe be careful if you're going to do this as well with the lists. I was watching, I don't know if you know, the Try Guys, who are, they're other YouTubers, haha, name drop. But the Try Guys, I watched a video about taking a break as vloggers, and like it was the Try Guys try going on vacation or something like that. In this video, they have an expert who mentions that a list should never be more than 7 items long. I assume this includes studying. However, my language study lists are, as you're going to see, they're very long. So we'll see how that goes, but that also might be why I struggle to maintain the motivation I need. Yeah. Okay, here's list 1. These are my inactive languages. This is just every app that I have on my phone. I have a lot. You may or may not recognize the apps here, depending on what language you study. But this is the inactive language list. And next would be the active language study list, which is actually quite chaotic, for lack of a better term. Okay, so this actually has some of the motivation built into it. So here's review note cards. I think note cards helps with study a lot, so that's why that's there.
So these are actually designed, so okay, these first three are all Japanese. And this is a Japanese workbook to work on grammar. This is a reading page. This is well, it's actually to practice kanji, but it's like a paragraph to read and translate. So I thought I would do that to practice reading. And then right here is listening Japanese conversations, a special workbook I have. So that will take care of listening, and that's the main three things that I think I need to work on in Japanese: reading, listening, and writing. So what about speaking? Well, that's very difficult to do on your own. So modern Chinese, and then this one, the title is actually in Chinese. This is the actual textbook for my Chinese class. This is an extra textbook I got that I thought covered some different topics that I thought were more relevant maybe for my level. So I'm combining the two, and that's what I'll do. I also have the workbook for this book, but it's turned into my teacher, so I can't use it this week because I'm off of Chinese class this week. Okay, this is Korean. This is actually a printed off textbook that my Korean language partner suggested that I use, and this makes sentences. We have a Google Doc that we use when she meets with me, because we meet on Skype, and she started giving me like vocabulary, and I suggested that I make sentences out of it, so that's what I'm gonna do. I don't have it anywhere written here, but I have like two Korean language apps, so that's why there's not as much Korean stuff written on here as there is Chinese and Japanese, because the other two Korean things are language apps on my phone. And then this is another technique which says keep a diary in your target language because it will improve your skills. So I guess this is also a form of motivational technique and practice. So yeah, we're gonna try and keep a language diary. As you can see, look at that terrible handwriting. I changed the target language per day. Yeah. And anyway, all of this is the same. Review note cards, the grammar section, this is reading section, this is a kid's book. It's about Winnie the Pooh, if you can read Japanese. This is my Japanese textbook for my current Japanese language course. Obviously Chinese, Korean, more make sentences. It's Korean again, I just didn't write it. And then there's one more make sentences here, and then I switch off the make sentences because I'll be out of vocabulary. So yeah, this list is quite long. This list is also quite long. We'll see. And here is a look at the books that I'm using in case you're curious. This is Genki 2. I've already gone through Genki 1. I'm almost done with this. I'm on the last chapter, chapter 23. This is my current Japanese course book. This is the printed off free Korean textbook that I have. This is prep for the JLPT test, and this is the Japanese listening practice. This is my Japanese notebook for writing Japanese stuff. Haha, okay. This is my Chinese course textbook, and this is the extra textbook and workbook that I got just to have extra practice. So these are all the textbooks I'm using right now. I actually have a lot more, sadly. I have 2 Thai textbooks here, which is kind of funny. But I haven't really been using them because these are the languages I actively study. This is my Chinese notebook, by the way. So yeah, I decided I am gonna go ahead and do another time lapse of me studying this time. Let's see how long it takes for me to get distracted. All right, let's do this. First list starts today, so I'm going to start on it and we'll see how long it takes for me to get distracted. All right. Well, hopefully I'll get my list done, but maybe I won't. Probably see you guys in a few minutes. I'm very easily distracted.
So, I got 2 items done on the list yesterday. The reason that I stopped recording was because my friends came to drop off food for me and then they proceeded to stay while we talked. So I ended up just going to bed afterwards without much motivation. So keeping a list so far, not working too much. It's nice to have the organization though, I admit. So today, during one of my other classes, I actually managed to get another item of the list from the first day crossed off. Not the list for the second day, obviously. So maybe keeping a general to-do list for the whole week instead of day by day might be better. And again, this might have to do with how long my list is. Maybe I need to make a shorter list. I always make my list longer because I'm like, oh, I want to get so much done. But realistically, maybe I should reevaluate my list in a way that makes more sense. But, well, we're going to keep up with the list thing until the end of this week. That's our method for the week, is keeping a list and seeing if that helps. So far, it's not helping. It's almost midnight and it's past midnight actually. It's almost 1 a.m. and I am very tired, but I am going to try and finish another item or 2 on the first day list. We'll see how far I get studying before I fall asleep. Wish me luck. So, yeah, I haven't recorded in the past 2 days because I haven't done any studying. So, the list method definitely doesn't work. In fact, I think it's had an adverse effect. I feel very bad and I constantly feel like I'm behind because my list isn't done. Now, part of this might be because, as I mentioned in the very first day when I started this, my list is excessively long because I study many languages. But as some of you may or may not know that do study a language, is you need a bit of exposure every single day or you're not going to achieve anything or achieve much. So I think the list thing is a good idea. But maybe I need to modify it. So I'll look at that for next week. But for now, I still haven't gotten through my day 1 list. I'm going to go ahead and work on that now. We'll see how well I do. Should be interesting. I hope that I get through most of it. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get through studying. I'm almost done with the Japanese part of day 1's list, even though it's day 4. And since I'm in the midst of studying Japanese, I'm gonna finish the Japanese for that list and then do the Japanese homework that I have. So yeah, we'll do Japanese homework. Or finish my Japanese part of my list, do my Japanese homework for tomorrow morning, and then switch to the rest of my list. By the way, on the inactive languages, so the languages I'm just studying a little bit, I did actually get some of them done yesterday. I did some of the apps for a little bit when I was drinking with my buddies because, convenience. When you use a phone app, it's very convenient. But it has issues too. I'm going to talk about phone apps next week probably. maybe. Okay, well, I'm gonna get to studying. Okay, so, firstly, I know I look like I have no eyebrows. That is because I have no makeup on. No eyebrow. Anyway, I do a lot of these videos with no makeup on. So, what I have noticed is that, the language study this week didn't happen, so just keeping a list, particularly one as extensive as mine, just doesn't work. So we're actually going to do a modified version of this week along with something else. So most of the articles, as I said before, that I did research on this about, and these are just the first couple of ones that popped up because I didn't have to search very strenuously for stuff on how to keep yourself motivated during language learning. And as I said before, they're all very, very much the same. So the second biggest one was speak to someone in their native language. So this coming week, I'm going to focus on speaking to my friends via voice texts or video chats, probably voice text, just because I don't have the time usually to devote to a full-on video call. Also, if I do, I tend to, speak English, so that's problematic, but a voice text, so I'm going to try voice texts for the majority of next week as a form of study. So we're going to do that in addition to changing the list. So here's my idea for changing the list. Obviously, they need to be shorter because I barely got through one. The way that I had formed the list before were to practice speaking, writing, and grammar all separately, which is all well and good, but I wanted to practice them all each every day. And I don't think that timing, I don't think I have the time to do that. So what we're gonna do this week is I will make the list right now for starting tomorrow, because tomorrow is Sunday, and we're going to focus on, so like let's say day one, I will focus on Japanese listening. So I'll only do the listening workbook, okay? And then for Korean, we'll practice grammar. And then for Chinese, we'll practice reading, or something like this. And then we'll practice writing with a diary entry because I firmly believe that can help. I just didn't have time to do it last week. So that's what I'm thinking what I'm going to do and see if it helps with the motivation is the voice chatting in addition to smaller lists. So yeah, I will not take a video of me making the list this time because it's boring and you guys don't need to see that, but I am going to make the list and I will shoot another video of the list tomorrow after I've made it and go over figuring out when I'm gonna do stuff. And every time I lose motivation to do my list, I'm going to voice message someone that I know that is a native speaker of the language that of one of the languages I'm learning. See how it goes. See you next week. Bye bye.